Hello, third grade, and welcome back to history class. The last time we met together, we were going over some map and globe skills. So I want us to go over this again. So if you can go to your black folder, take out your packet that has the map and globe skills name on the front of it. And we're just going to review through this again. Friday, we will have a quiz over this. Um, Most of it, I believe you already know, or you will remember as we go through it again. So I just want us to review this. It'll be a quick review, not a whole lot that we still need to do in here because we've already gone through most of it. So what we're looking at here, that my pointer is pointing at, this is called a globe. We looked at one in class. We colored in the blue for the oceans, the water area, and then the green for the continents. So we have looked at this. Basically, all you need to know about this is that this represents on a smaller scale a map. And since the Earth is round, it gives us a good idea of what the Earth looks like instead of just a flat map like we have on our wall. Okay, so now we move on to the compass rose. Like we talked about the other day in class, the compass rose basically shows us north, south, east, west. Then we have northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. And we actually marked those on our compass. And then we also drew a tree up here for northeast. And then we drew a heart for the northwest, I believe is what it said to do. Or maybe it was west. So this is a compass. Basically this, if you have a compass and you're out in the woods somewhere or out in a forest or on a hike, it tells you if you're going north, south, east, or west. And now with some of the newer model cars, they also have a compass in them. So it's just a good way for us to know what direction we're driving, and it just kind of gives you a sense of direction. So this is just a symbol that shows direction. Then we talked about the latitude lines. These are imaginary lines on the globe that shows the distance from the equator. Remember the middle line here at 0 degrees is what we call the equator. And these lines are not actually on the map, but they're imaginary. And it helps with finding locations. We talked about military using them. We talked about the airline pilots using them to find where people are located, where drops need to be made. So instead of using addresses, because out in the middle of the ocean there is no address, so they use the latitude and what we're going to look at next, longitude lines, to find direct locations for things. And also, I think we drew the imaginary lines down here, but we actually drew lines down here to show latitude. Remember, latitude goes across. And then we come to longitude, and remember I told you, think of long. That means long lines on your paper. And these again are imaginary lines on the globe that shows the distance from the prime meridian. The prime meridian is the middle line here that goes north, south, up, down, and it divides, runs through the equator, and just shows us where that middle line is here. So the prime meridian is the middle that goes up and down, 0 degrees, 0 degrees, and then the equator is the one that goes across, and that would be 0 degrees, 0 degrees. Also, remember we talked about at the equator, The closer you are to the equator, the hotter it is. So those places in Africa that we looked at, those would be very hot places to live because they are closer to the equator. And then, of course, we did talk about continents at the beginning of the year. There's 7 continents. Basically, they are large land masses. We have North America, South America. Then we have Europe and Africa, Asia, and Australia. So I don't think I forgot any. North America, South America, Africa. Oh, Antarctica. Can't forget Antarctica down here all by itself. So, what you can do on your paper is do number 2 here. It says color Africa red, color North America yellow, color Europe orange, color Asia blue, color South America green, color Antarctica purple, and then color Australia brown. So match up each of these land masses or continents with the map and then color those in those specific colors. And then also if you want to use the abbreviations and name each of the continents, that would be great also. So just follow your directions here on your page and that will tell you what you need to do for this page. Okay, same thing with oceans. We've talked about oceans. We've talked about this right here is the Pacific Ocean. This is the Atlantic Ocean that runs in here. Then up here is the Arctic Ocean. Over here again is the Pacific Ocean. And it's not that it's 2 separate Pacific Oceans, because if we were to fold this around, this map around, then the Pacific Oceans would connect. And then let's see, Antarctica is down here, and this right here would be the Indian Ocean. So Pacific, Atlantic, Arctic, Pacific, and this here is the Indian Ocean. Now down here, it's called the Southern Ocean. In 3rd grade, we normally don't mark that on our maps, but if you want to add that in there, that would be fine. And follow the directions down here. It says label each of the oceans. So you would put the names in here and then color the oceans blue. So any area that is water, that would be shaded in blue. Then we come to what's called a legend. Now, a legend shows the symbol and their meaning. So a legend can also be called a key. We talked about a key in math. When you're looking at graphs, there might be a key that says each smiley face represents 3 students. Or if a half smiley face might represent a half a student or 1 student. So a legend is similar to a key. And if you notice here on the one that we're looking at, it tells us that this here, all of these states here, looks like are English. So probably these are people who had moved in. These states or cities were from England. All of the green were Irish. The blue were French. And the yellow were Italian. And then the gray one right here were Portuguese. So you will see this on maps. It may show, a squiggly line might mean a river. A longer line might mean maybe a lake or a pond. So a legend, they're usually kind of like a pictograph. They'll show you a picture and then they'll give you a key over here that explains what each color means or what each symbol means. Okay. And it says copy below the legend. You don't have to do that because we're not in school and I don't have that poster here for you to copy. So don't worry about that. If you want to, you can just put a big X there. All right, now symbols. I'm sure as you've been driving down the freeways or interstates with your parents, you will see signs that have many of these different symbols written on them. And these symbols are basically just characters that represent objects and locations. So if I'm driving and I see an airplane, then I know, okay, there must be an airport nearby. Okay, if I'm driving and I see a gas pump, well, guess what that means? There's a gas station nearby. So each of these symbols represents something. That probably represents food. That represents that there's a golf course nearby. That probably represents either coffee or could represent food and drinks. Bus station. So I think that's a bathroom. There would be a telephone. So each of these pictures are symbols that represent, like this right here would mean, okay, there's trash. You need to empty your trash. This next stop would be the trash location. So you will see these a lot as you're driving down the road. You'll also see them on maps. If you go into a town and pick up a map, or if you even go into someplace like Legoland or Disneyland, those places have maps and they have symbols on them that show you where the nearest restrooms are, where the nearest food and drink is, even where a ride or a different show will be. So I'm sure you've become familiar with symbols and maps. There are always different symbols on them. And then lastly, let's review the equator and the prime meridian. So we know that the equator goes across and it crosses right through South America, right through Africa, and these islands here, I think they are Singapore and maybe, oh, I can't remember. I know one of them's Singapore, but that would be the equator, and then the prime meridian is here. That goes straight up and down the middle. So I guess we could say right here in the middle where the equator and the prime meridian meet would be the center of the earth, out here in the ocean somewhere. So make sure that you do know the equator goes across, the prime meridian goes up and down. And basically, these are your map skills that you need to know for third grade and how to basically, it teaches you how to read a map. So we'll have a quiz over this on Friday. Basically, the quiz is simple, easy. All you need to do is know what each one of these things are called. You need to locate. You're going to have to, I'm going to give you a map. You're going to need to tell me where the equator is, where the prime meridian is. I think I might have you do them in two different colors. I don't really remember right now. Um, but all of these definitions here will be matching. You'll just have to match the picture to what the name of it is. So it should be really simple. You really shouldn't have a hard time. So just go through your map and globe skills packet, review those, and know the equator and prime meridian, and that should be it. Okay, well, I will get off here now so you can get your work completed and hopefully get some playing in the snow in today. Have a great day. Hopefully, I'll see you Friday.